is Nina Perez, and this is Straight Talk, no sugar added. Thank you so much for watching. This show is created to discuss life topics and hopefully challenge and transform your thinking, which is what we're going to do today. We're going to play with your mind a little bit. This is Jeremy Krulikowski, and he's a high-performance wealth coach and one of the foremost experts in the world at helping Christians wipe out their debt and build wealth at record speed while having the blast doing it. We're going to talk about that and tapping into the fullest God-given potential. And I think that this is definitely a topic that many people are struggling with. And so I'm really, really glad you took time out of your day to be here with us, Jeremy. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank
I'm
you.
so excited to rock with you guys. We're going to have a lot of fun here.
Yes.
So it's exciting.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself so our viewers know who you are.
Yeah. So again, Jeremy Krulikowski, gave a good bio, just kind of description there, but just long story short, you know, my wife and I grew up struggling financially, in the sense that we grew up in a household with not a lot of money, paycheck to paycheck, struggling. And that was pretty much the norm. It was one of those things where you just know your parents are stressed. You know that you don't have, you know, like your parents do just enough to take you to the drive-through or get you this thing, but it's not enough where, you know, you're able to go on vacations consistently and spend time together as a family. It's not enough to be able to really just know that you're going to be okay. You know, you show up one day and it's like, hey, what happened to the car? It's like, well, it's not here anymore. And it's like, well, I like that car. And it's like, I don't like these two cars. These are beaters, you know? And it's like, don't pick me up in this car, please. No. My sister, we had a beater that was so bad. It was like the Uncle Buck car that my sister, like, she was so embarrassed. So my dad would pick her up, you know, and it was just, you know, where you have pins holding it up.
Right, so it's like, pick me up in the corner, right?
Yeah, pick me up in the, no, for real. She was like that, you know. I remember the one time we just blast the radio. My dad had anyways, but just, you know, one of those things where it was just always hard. And then, you know, fast forwarding to where you know, I'm 17 years old and we ended up moving to a different state. And my dad really struggled in his career. They struggled financially. They finally sold their house, but they just, long story short, there were a lot of things holding him back from really stepping into his purpose, and as well as her and potential financially. And it caused a lot of anxiety. He lost his job. And when I was 17, my dad actually committed suicide.
Oh,
and it's one of those things where I know what it's like to live in a home where finances are tight and it's a struggle. And what we were talking about right before this is that so many people struggle with things that are totally unnecessary. You know, if you're a Christian watching this, it's like Jesus promised we're going to suffer for the gospel, but he didn't say that we needed to suffer for being broke and making bad decisions and having bad communication in marriage and all of those sorts of things. You know what I'm saying? So no matter where you're at, if you're watching this, we just really are passionate about helping people get financially free so that they don't have to deal with just the crap that 8 out of 10 Americans living paycheck to paycheck are dealing with. It's like life should be fun. I believe that we should be able to be generous. There's more joy in that. We should be free. There's so many things to be worried about. And I just don't feel like money should be an issue, especially in this country, to have that. So that's kind of a little bit of like where we come from. So, and my wife and I struggled with this and we worked through all this. So I'm just saying, like, is my upbringing and then my wife and I dealing with this. And once we work through it, it was just, you know, now we just want to set people free.
Yeah. And that's such a good goal, right? Because Christian or not, people are struggling with this, right? And I think it's the shame that comes with it. There's a lot of shame and fear, anxiety that comes with money, or even discussing money. And especially with couples, like that's a hard thing, right? Because to your point, you know, you were raised with lack, so that gave you an impression of money and what it means, right? And somebody else may be raised with more and maybe they're a little looser with their money. So it's like this this game that you play when you're in couples, right? And so why did you, I mean, obviously it's because you guys struggled, but what kind of buckled you down and said, okay, we got to break free, right? So then now it's a mission, right? It's become a mission for you guys.
Yeah. It's just sick and tired of it. You know, you just reach a point where, you know, I was making, you know, at the time about $12 an hour. And I lived in a state where basically if you make just this much above that, you lose all the state health care, all the benefits, the food stamps, everything. So it was like, you either make 30,000 or you make 50, but anything in between that, you're kind of screwing yourself. And so I got to a point where I've got a kid and then I had another one on the way and I was enjoying my job, but I was like, I'm just tired. I'm tired of this. This sucks. And I wanted to buy healthier food for my kids and my wife, and I wanted to do stuff. And then eventually, you know, so I started advancing myself and getting raises and, you know, doing that. But then eventually there came a point where we wanted to adopt. We couldn't adopt. We wanted to buy a house. We couldn't buy a house. I couldn't even buy a bed without putting it on a credit card. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just one $5,000 credit card, by the way. But it's a really nice bed. We finally paid it off. But I'm just saying, like,
Finally paid it off.
but I'm just saying, like, it just got to the point where I was just tired. I was tired, and I knew that I was capable of so much more. I just didn't know where to begin. And so we just started this journey of like, let's come together. Let's actually have a plan for our money versus just like my plan being, hey, I didn't overdraft. Hey, I'm on a plan. That's not a plan. That's not, what I'm looking at your bank account
So
and saying
real.
like,
Oh
you know what I'm
gosh.
saying? Because we would
Yes.
get our tax return and we were so broke, we get like $8,000 back,
You think you're
10,000.
rich?
Oh, I was like, we were rolling in it. I mean, I loved it. The funny, the guys, their tax accountant's actual name was Rich. All kidding aside, but it's like, so it was so funny. We're just like, come on, Rich, let's do it. I was like, yes. So like we would get that money and I would just siphon it off. And by the time tax season, it was like, we got that little bit and then it would hit again. And I was just tired of it, Neena, I was so sick of it. And it just got to that point where I'm like, enough was enough. I'm going to figure it out. So we came together, we got on a budget, we paid off, probably 14 grand or something in like 6 months. And then from that place, just continued to accelerate my career. And then, just wanted to start helping people learn what we've learned and getting on the same page and stopping the disconnection and stepping into their full potential and getting on a plan and, just all that stuff. And it just became a passion. And when you started seeing people's marriages saved, when you start seeing people going from, to your point, so anxious and depressed. I mean, I've talked to people the last few weeks where like they're sleeping 4 hours a night, 3 hours a night. Right. They're freaking out, and by the way, you don't have to be paycheck to paycheck to have that struggle. By the way, right. Some of you guys watching this, you know what it's like. It's like when that like you and you're not on the same page with your spouse and you might be bringing home the bacon, but they're frying it. And maybe it's like it's smelling burnt, like it ain't going good, or it's like you have so much that now you're afraid of losing it because of poor management or not having a plan. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't really matter. Like we've seen people, it doesn't matter if you're making $250,000 a year or making, a few $1,000s a month. It really just, when you don't have a plan for it and you don't have savings and you still have debt and your retirement is not on pace and your college isn't on pace. And especially when a global pandemic comes into it, everybody now feels insecure. And especially you ladies, I'm sure Neena, you can understand, like your number one value is security. And it's like, men, I think it's more about like, it's like, I think it's more about like insecurity. It's like in the sense of like wanting to feel proud and accomplished and providing. And it's like, I just noticed it's like at the end of the day though, it doesn't matter who you are. Everyone wants security right now. Right. Everyone wants safety because nobody knows what's going to happen again. Nobody wants to be caught again. The whole thing of Warren Buffett, skinny dipping and then the tide goes out. Nobody wants to be caught like that again. Nobody wants to be caught going, holy crap, I was living in presumption and then the banks cut off my credit limit, which has happened. Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh, and then that job that was so stable. Yeah. Now it's gone. Yeah. My business that was prospering. Yeah. Now no one's calling because they're trying to just keep their head above water. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be prepared for stuff like this. And I think this has been a gift. I'm grateful for this because it's woken people up. They're not just being as lackadaisical. A lot of people are like, I cannot be stuck like this again. So yeah, it's really critical. It's absolutely critical.
Yeah. And, you said something going back to your story that caught me because I realized that you said when you and your wife got on a budget, you were able to pay like, was it 14,000 in 6 months or whatever? Oh, yeah. So that means you always had that money, right?
A lot of it,
yeah. Right. But because you weren't on a budget, you don't realize how you're spending it, what you're doing with it, right? It's the little foxes that come and steal it.
Gone with the wind, baby. It was like, hey, where'd it go? And I mean, we would just buy stuff. And it's like, it's so funny. You look at somebody who doesn't make a lot of money and you're like, man, but some of those neighborhoods, it's like that they got the nicest cars, know? We had some of the nicest stuff. I remember getting our tax return. I was like, do I pay off the student loan or do I buy the $800 bike carrier, bike tag along thing for my kids? Where I go once a week, I might bike to church. Oh man, but I gotta have that, and I just had no plan. And at the same time, people watching this, it's not just about the plan of a structure of a budget. Okay. There are apps galore. There's trainings galore. Go on YouTube. Anybody can find it. It's a matter of what keeps you from sticking to it. What keeps you from wanting to do it? What keeps you from what is it that drives the impulsive behavior where, you're putting stuff on cards that you don't have money for, or, I just, there's so many things going on. It's like, things maybe in your marriage, it's like, and you're feeling guilt, or you feel like you're not doing enough, or you don't. And so you're just always saying yes, to them or to you kids, or you're dealing with so much stress and anxiety. It's where a lot of people purchase, some people purchase from depression because you don't know how to create those hormones yourself.
Right.
And you're in such a dark place that like that package from Amazon showing up on Monday afternoon might, like that's like your cup of coffee. It's what gets you through the day. So you have to know how to cure the underlying things that are holding you back from actually going after it and sticking to it, because it's not just about a budget. People come to us from all these financial programs. It's like, I tried this, and they feel like losers and failures because for whatever reason I can't make it work. And it's just really, it's not that it's in one sense, I have a lot of compassion, because in a lot of sense, it's not their fault, because what people are being told is that it's just like, hey, the reason why you're an alcoholic is because you have beer in the fridge. So throw out all of your beer, cut up all of your credit cards, and now you're never going to struggle with, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you're
more than that.
It's more than that. You have to cure the reason for why you keep making these decisions, and how to make healthier decisions that get you the outcomes that you want in your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it makes total sense. And I love that you touch on a lot of things there. So one of the things I saw you say recently as well, I think you posted it maybe like 4 or 5 days ago. Amazing content, great video. I was just like eating it up. I loved it. And it was about fear, right? And you're kind of touching on that a little bit. I guess the way, and maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like what you're doing also, instead of attacking just the numbers, you're attacking the belief system around right? That's what it sounds like. So that's amazing, right? Because you're right. Most places where you go and you get like financial coaching and budgeting, they're looking at just numbers. So here's the numbers, here's what it is, be on rice and beans all day, and that's all you're going to have, right? Where you're saying, okay, but why do you believe that? What's the thought process behind that? How do you prevent yourself from re-entering those bad habits, right? That's what it sounds like. Is that right?
Because if you want to chunk it down like into 4 things, I used to have a little sticky note on here for our clients just to kind of break it down, but it's really just, I like to think of it in 4 parts, right? In terms of like, what is it that causes, like and ultimately, so in other words, what I'm saying is like, you've got your results in life. Okay. And it's like, well, what leads to our results? It's the actions that we take. Well, what creates the actions? It's the emotions that we have. Those are what drive our actions. And what creates our emotions? Ultimately, it's our belief system, right? So if you believe I'm always going to be in debt, what emotion is that going to create? Probably depression. And then when you're feeling depressed, what action do you take? Very little. And then what's the result that you have in life? You find that you're broke, or you find that you struggle, and it's like, no, take anything, that you want, like my marriage, we're always going to fight. The emotion, you're always going to feel pissed off, it's just whatever that would be. So it is exactly like that, is that most people are trying to just correct the things over here. They're trying to just like change their habits. They're trying to just address the actions. And that's where most coaching is, by the way. It's time management. It's goal, it's goal setting. It's getting out your planner, and it's all of and working your budget, and all that stuff's great, but it's irrelevant if you don't know how to address the inner world. And the inner world, ultimately, from a biblical perspective, and even any psychiatrist, anyone, it just, from the overflow of the heart, or from this is what's controlling your life. And if you're sitting here watching this right now and you're like, I just don't like my life, we're over here. You're at results. So if you want a better life, you have to take better actions, which also might go back to your belief system, thinking that I'm out of control. And I just don't believe that. I believe that most of the things in your life, even if you've been hurt, and I know that some people watching, they might have been abused. They might have been taken advantage of, stolen from, awful things. I've had some of them, some of our clients, I get it. At the same time, you could take any person that's had that kind of situation happen. I know that you're passionate about this. And that's the very reason why they've claimed their success. Like, it's because I was taken advantage of. It's because I was abused. It's because I was bankrupt. It's because of that. I'm going to leverage that. And I'm going to make that my power. I'm going to make that my message, and I'm going to give hope to people. So even that, you can't say that ultimately, like, that's what's going to hold you back. So you have to get back to that. And so now when you realize, okay, I have control, now it's a matter of going back to these beliefs and these emotions that are keeping you stuck, because that's where we live our life from, Neena. And if you don't fix that, you're just throwing a Band-Aid on it. And that's what pretty much most of the people out there are teaching.
Right. So what you were saying was really resonating with me, and I wanted you to touch on fear, whether you're Christian or not, like the fear and the, being afraid of something. I think, you don't even want to look at it because you're so afraid of it, right? So how do we overcome that? Like, how do we try to face fear? Do you have like skill
Well,
sets you use for that?
yeah, well, you actually just nailed it. You face it.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you address it, because again, anxiety and fear, again, it's trying to communicate something to you. It's your body. It's those emotions are like the little kid in the back of the classroom
Mm-hmm.
that's waving his hand saying, Miss Nina, Miss Nina. And you're like, shh, be quiet, be quiet. No, Miss Nina, and I'm like, I gotta go to the potty. I gotta go to the bathroom. No, be quiet, be quiet. And they're going to start flipping over chairs. And that's where we're drinking to stifle it. That's where we're social media. And that's where we're medicating it. That's what we're trying to do. And there's all of these drugs and things trying to, and again, if anyone's watching this, I'm not bashing them. I'm not a doctor, but I'm just saying we're taking things to try to suppress something that is really meant to be a gift. Now, if all of those things can get out of line, okay, you can have an oversensitivity to that and you need to curb it. But even a lot of the fear, it might not be legitimate, but the point is it's still telling you that you need to work through it, and you need to reprogram so that it doesn't cause you to be afraid. In other words, there was a time maybe like a couple years ago where like I used to check my messages first thing, and in my inbox to see, do clients have any questions or complaints? And I just started, for whatever reason, even though like 99.99% of what people would say is like encouraging things or just a common question, I was like getting ready to put out a fire. And so I was afraid of like, that people are going to be upset with us or think that this program sucks and things like that. But again, if I used to just suppress it versus like, okay, well, hold on a second, pause. What am I feeling in my body? I'm feeling it. Okay. So let me just, and we do have a whole process for this, so I can't get into it. But in other words, we do have a way to help people deal with it. And then like, okay, but what's really true? The truth is that they're fine. Everybody's happy. Everybody loves what we do. And even if they don't, I'll coach them through it. And I just had to shift that belief. But if I would have just kept stuffing it, I would have kept suffering and living in that anxious feeling, constantly wasting time, checking my messages 20 times a day, waiting for someone to get pissed off at me when it wasn't even a real problem. So sometimes they are real problems, sometimes the bear is outside of the tent. Sometimes the house is filled with smoke and you need to react. But most of our problems, Neena, and our fears, I think the average person has like 50,000 thoughts a day. Scientifically, when they look at it, it's like most of them are, are psychological states. They're negative, and most of them are totally unnecessary. And instead of ignoring it, listen to it, connect to it, and figure out what's going on in your body. Listen to your body, and then once you can get out of that fight or flight or that stress response, you can start to reprogram some really powerful things that are going to help you take better actions and get better results in your life.
Wow. That sounds like such a beautiful and holistic way of looking at wealth, right? And finances and debt and all of that, because you're attacking it from a place where it's going to be long lasting and not just, short term, right? Which I guess is the goal, right?
Yeah. And you'll like this too, because it's like, so here's another good example of, and this doesn't matter how much money you're making wherever, but if you're struggling with consistent anxiety, and obviously there's so many things subconsciously or consciously in our belief system that could be affecting that. But let's just say you're living in anxiety, Neena, when you're in anxiety, again, I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to secure. And most people, they live very safe. They try to live safe. They try to secure it. But in reality, what's actually very ironic is that because now you're so afraid of taking risk because you're just in preservation mode, you don't take the steps you need to actually secure greater wealth or security for yourself, which ultimately, ironically, is what causes your greatest fear to happen. So you have to help people overcome the anxiety and the fear, especially when you've been so used to living check to check or waiting for the other shoe to drop. You have to break out of that, because when you're in that place in your body, you don't think clearly, you don't take risks. And if you watching this, anyone watching this, talk to any multimillionaire, billionaire, the only way they got there was by taking risks.
Yeah.
The only way they got there was by doing really scary, uncomfortable stuff every day. So if you don't know how to navigate anxiety and fear, especially when it comes to money, Neena, you're always going to be playing it safe and having just enough. And it's just, you're going to find that at the end of the day, your greatest fears become realized, because you'll look up and you'll be like, where did all the money go? I don't have enough. Now your kids are having to take care of you, or now the government is. And none of it, I think after all this stuff going on, ain't nobody want the government, filling those roles. So it's, it's just,
and it's something, right, that just enough living. I've lived like that most of my life, right? And so right now I actually do work with a financial coach right now, me and my husband, and we're trying to get our stuff together, because it is not easy, and you don't realize the thought processes you have towards money, because I grew up with a lot of lack. right? So it's very difficult sometimes to navigate. So I'm wondering, do you, when you have your your clients come to you, do you try to attack and deal with the coaching aspect of that first before you go ahead and start getting into the nitty gritties of the numbers? Or do you kind of like weave it, or I guess you probably go
I
per
think both.
client, right?
Yeah, we do both, because I think that if people join a financial program, because because most people don't think that what the problem is really is
Yeah,
what's going on here. They
so
think it's
true.
about the budget. They think it's about the
I
debt.
did.
So yeah, whatever. But but like about the debt snowball. They think it's about, because we don't, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't,
Yeah.
it's my career, resume, whatever. People think it's all strategy. That's like 10%. 90% of it is your
So
mindset
good. So good.
and your psychology. And really, I like performance psychology better, by the way, because I think mindsets become so in vogue and so broad. And to me, it's about like, what do we need to overcome to get you to get the perform at the level you want, to get the outcome that you want in your life? So you have to do both, right? Like we have people come in and like instantly we're going to start, peeling back those layers and figuring out what is it that's been holding you back. And it's like we have people that literally 180 in like in a few days, where you're like, they might go from feeling hopeless, disempowered, struggling, feeling all this kind of stuff. Even if they don't say it out loud, everyone struggles with this. We all do, feeling like a failure, feeling like all that kind of stuff, to where they're like, oh my gosh, I've got my power. We call it your superhero. We believe everybody has an inner superhero and an inner supervillain. And it's just a matter of who's in the driver's seat, who's controlling your life. And so you have to give people back their power. And I just believe, again, even if you're not a Christian, you're made in the image of God. And it's like, so I believe you have all the resourcefulness, creativity, everything just imprinted in your DNA by the God of the universe. And then if you are a Christian, you're like, then you've got the Holy Spirit of God.
Right.
So it's like, so I'm just like, we shouldn't be struggling. We shouldn't be this hard. So it's like, who am I? Whose am I? What's true about me? And you got to give people a real plan. You got to show them like, here's the correct ways to manage your money and things. Because nobody ever knows that. We've had people, it's like, I led this program and I did this and I've been doing this for 20, and they still don't know how to do it. So there are hacks, there are ways to save more money. Even though that really shouldn't be your focus, there's a few things that you can do to really get that, to make that happen quicker. And getting it under control. But really needed, like what I'm passionate about is, and this is where most financial coaching, they're becoming a dime a dozen. I mean, they're being trained all over. It's like you go through a 2-month program. Now I'm a financial coach. And it's like, hey, I was that, hey, listen, I was that guy. So I'm not going to hate. Okay. So I had to start that way, but, now we've got some street cred, and we've got some experience, some time in the saddle, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year later. But I'm just saying, like, it's all about the numbers. And to me, it's not about just managing what you have better. It's like, what do I need to do to be able to get the ceiling off of my income? Because most people, Christians and there's an invisible ceiling, and there's and I just don't believe in just enough. I want abundance. And what we find, it's like after 3 or 4 weeks, like, you've saved all that you can save. And once you get on a good plan for how to communicate and set your goals around your money, that's it. Everything else is just making more money, having fun, doing what you love. You talked about having a blast. That should be the focus. And a lot of the friends and the people I see out there, it's all about like, hey, we'll just meet with you every other week and we'll talk about your budget and your accountability to it. And that's white bread mayonnaise. I think that sucks. Right. To me, it's like, you can get that. That's not the problem. You can establish that as a baseline. And then now it's like, how do we step into your full potential? How do we get you to that next level of your income? And we want to help people become multimillionaires, billionaires, because I just believe the more, just like you, the women, men, people that have big hearts to help and serve people, alleviate people out of their suffering, out of their poverty, out of their struggles. We're in a 3D world, Neena, and you know this. It's like, prayers are great. I love prayers. Good intentions are great. Thank yous. But at the end of the day, every nonprofit on the planet, they're not waving a flag that says, please send us more of your good thoughts and prayers, even though that's great. They're like, send us your money. Money. Right. We need money. Right. But ironically, like some of the people, what I found is that the people with the most generous hearts, like inclination, where like they'll give their shirt off their back, those are the people that struggle the most with it. Those are the people that struggle the most financially. It's really weird. It's like, it's because they're so spiritually, I feel like, devoted to what they believe. And so many of those worldviews, if you don't understand them correctly, you'll feel guilty and wrong for wanting more. And so you'll have just enough to be able to give every once in a while and help maybe a friend or family, but not enough to have real abundance. And we want people to have abundance, that care about people, because I believe the more money you have, the more good you're going to do in the world. And I think it's selfish to be broke for most people.
That's so good. It's selfish to be broke. I'm going to steal that one.
You steal it.
I'm going to steal it. Because I think one of the most uh powerful things too is our belief system when it comes to that, as a Christian, right? When it
Yep.
comes to that as well, you know, you acting like a fool with your money and not being a good steward does not mean God is going to go, oh, here's a little sprinkle dust on you and you're
Oh,
good to
don't
go.
even, Nina, let's not even go
I know. Okay,
there.
we won't go there. That's
Let's
another
just not
30
even
minutes.
go. Well, we can, but I'm just saying it's like that is the number
That is a problem.
one. It's number
Yes.
one for
Yep.
Christians. It is. And it's like, even if you're not a Christian, the universe, whatever, all things were going to
Yeah.
work out for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. But it's just, it is the
Manifesting it. Yeah.
number one. It's like, I'm a Christian. God loves me. So therefore, he's not going to let me eat sand, you know,
Right. Right.
and struggle. And there, Nina, it's like I have the blessing, and also it's emotionally challenging at times, where not everyone is in that place of like, you know, hand to mouth. But it's like I
Right.
talked to a couple the other day where they're like, we're 6 months behind our mortgage. Both of our accounts are in the negative, and we don't know what we're going to do.
Mm.
And there are good people, godly people, God, that go bankrupt, that have
Mm-hmm.
heart attacks, cancer, and you know, and strokes from the pressure and the stress. There are people that lose their loved ones. There are people that they lose their kids because they're having to work so many hours that their kids end up leaving the faith, or, you know, or saying screw off. I talked to a guy the other day who said literally his daughter, oldest daughter, he's been working 2 jobs. She basically said it doesn't even bother anymore. He's not here.
Oh,
She's just
wow.
gotten used to it. So there are good people out there that are
Mm-hmm.
really trying to get this together. And it's just, they're making it so much harder than it needs to be because they're trying to do it alone. And you just need an expert. You need someone who's been
Yeah.
there, done that, got the t-shirt, that can show you what you're missing, because the inside of the jar, Nina, cannot read the outside of the label.
Right. Oh, so
You've
good.
got to
A
have
lot of good
people,
stuff.
you've got to have people looking into your life and helping you, because again, it's like going to the personal trainer. You can do P90X, and that's part of another problem. Probably that's why the emergency rooms were filled. I had a friend who was a nurse with the whole, when, you know what I'm talking about, when P90X came out and the insanity. She's
Yes.
like, that, you know, the people in the ER, it's people getting hurt from these home workouts, you know, and everyone's like, oh, I'm going to get the best body of my life working at home. It's like, well, maybe, but it's like, but when you go to a professional there,
Yes.
it's like,
Yes.
hey, you
I
need to
agree.
lift your butt about 2 inches here, your back's bent, your arms are, you need to move your elbows
Yeah.
up, you do this, it's like 30 more, you know, all of those little
Yep.
tweaks are what could
Yep.
prevent you from getting injured, and what can help you actually, hey, adjust this, your calorie intake, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are the hacks and the fine tuning? And sure, you might get a decent result, but again, I don't want mediocre. I don't want status
Right.
quo. I want the best body, the best finances, the best marriage. I believe that you can have it all if you choose to, and if you commit to it,
Yeah.
and if you get the help of an expert.
And you already, you nailed it, right? Is commit to it and get somebody who knows what they're doing, because you know, God is really not going to come down here and just do everything you ask him to do.
Really?
He's not your cosmic bellboy, you
Really?
know. So my
Oh,
pastor
cosmic
said,
bellboy. Okay, I'll take
yeah,
that
yeah,
one.
my
Yeah.
pastor used to say, you know, he goes, you know, most of us think we could ring a bell, like he's a cosmic bellboy, he's just going to go ahead and do what we want him to do, right? So but I believe in putting in the work, and you
Yep.
know, and sometimes you don't know what you don't know,
Yep.
right? So getting an expert, getting a coach like you is important. I always believe in coaches. I love coaches. I have a personal trainer. I go to, you know, boot camp
Good for
three
you.
times a week. I do all of that because I'm trying to get myself healthy, not just body wise, but financially as well. Because I believe
Yeah.
in what you believe in. I think
Yep.
I've been living too low for too long.
That's
And
good.
so, you know, I thank you very much for your content. I really do. I think it's fantastic. I'm so glad I found you. I don't even know how I found you. I think I found you through LinkedIn. Maybe you posted something on LinkedIn that caught my eye. But then I started following you on YouTube, and you have such good content. Really, really
Yeah,
good
thank you
content.
so much for
So
that. It's so much fun. It's fun to
yeah,
hear you say that. And again, it's just fun to serve your audience. And again, if
yeah.
anyone needs
Thank you.
help, they can reach out, and we'll, even if they're like, hey, I'm not a Christian and that's not really my thing. It's all good. I've got friends, I've got people, my people
Yeah.
got people,
You people got
you
people. You got
know,
street cred.
we got street cred. But yeah, we just want to serve people. We want to
Yeah.
make a difference. It's like, even if there's just one person from this where they have some hope and they have some, I see what's possible now. Cause I
Hmm.
was at Nina 8 years ago. I was mopping up pee on the custodial floor, you know,
Right.
and I just didn't know what I didn't know. And I just wanted to get free. And if I would have known the things that I know now, I mean, it's like you get in front of some people that are just a few years ahead of you, and
Yeah.
your opportunity, the possibilities are endless. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I was just making these decisions because I was like, I thought this was the only way to get the outcome. I thought the only way that I could get my income up was by, kissing people's butts and, and like working my way up
Being
the ladder,
promoted,
doing
right.
something I don't. And it's like, and then once you start getting in front of someone, it's like, actually, here's an opportunity. You could do this. It's like, I had no idea. And I would have been, Nina, if I would have gotten help from myself
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
like
Get that.
I
I
would have
get
been
that.
like, I would have been crushing in my early 20s. Like I would have been like, it would have been awesome, but it just
Right.
took me longer because I thought I was trying to save money
Right.
and do it my own way, and YouTube and Google and everything myself to success. Again,
Yeah.
this example, like I had to learn Facebook advertising. Honestly, that's probably how you saw me at some point. And I spent probably 50, 75, 100 hours trying to go through these courses and figure it out. And at the end of it, I was frustrated. I was overwhelmed. I was probably more confused than when I started. And then I hire a marketing company. I pay them 11 grand to help me out with all this stuff, get all this stuff in order. And then guess what? I watched a 30-minute video that shows me how to do everything I need to do. And it was
Right.
like, oh, but I was saving money.
Right.
Yeah, I lost probably tens of thousands of dollars in potential revenue
Yeah.
because I was trying to do it myself. And so the principle is like, if you want to get wealthy, you have to think like wealthy people. Wealthy people are not doing
Yes.
their own taxes.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
not doing their own dentistry. They're not suing
Yes.
people themselves. They have attorneys. Like
Mhm.
there's just so much shame circling back to the beginning. There's so much shame around money that just needs to go.
Yeah.
It's like sex, it's like money. It's like there are these topics where like everyone has to be good at it, is expected, but no one's really taught how.
Yeah.
And we need to teach people. And there's nothing wrong with being like, I don't know how to do this.
Right.
It's okay. You don't do your own mechanic. I don't do my own oil. I don't do this.
Yeah.
Let somebody help you. There's no
Yeah.
shame in it. The shame, like you said, is putting your head down in the sand, being afraid, not wanting to face the reality, face the music. And then eventually life does become a life filled with shame and regret because
Yeah.
you end up not taking advantage of the opportunities, fixing it, and not being proactive. And now you're stuck. And that's where a lot of people are at right now. We want to help people out of that.
Yeah, that's great. Oh my gosh, you said so much good stuff. I don't know how I'm going to edit this now. I don't want anything out of it.
You don't
All
have
right.
to. You don't have to.
You
It's
know,
all good.
I really do thank you. And I thank you for that last comment, because that what you just talked about actually helped me just now, because I've been doing that. I've been teaching myself how to do my own website, how to do this, and I am exhausted and I'm frustrated
Let's
and I'm
talk.
like, okay, I
Let's
have to
talk.
stop.
Let's
And
talk. I
so,
got you, girl.
yeah,
I
yeah.
got you, girl. Let's talk. Yeah.
But you know what I realized is that I'm worth it and I need to be investing in myself
Yes.
as opposed
Yes.
to worrying about the nickel and diming myself. So
Yes.
that was very powerful. Thank you. That helped me. That
Yeah.
helped
We'll
me.
talk. I'll help
Yeah.
you out.
Yeah. That helped me. So you are amazing. And I thank
Yeah,
you for
you
your
too.
time. And I want you to please just quickly tell people how they can find you, your website and if in your YouTube and all of that. How can we
Yeah.
find you?
So jeremykrulikowski.com. There's our website. You can go there, sign up for a little free training.
Mhm.
Hopefully it applies to you. But if not, it's okay. You can follow us
Yeah.
on YouTube, watch a bunch of videos. Again, it's KRULIKOWSKI. Nina, I might just have to change my name like Tim McGraw or some of these people,
Maybe
whoever,
Jeremy
whatever.
K. Just
Jeremy
Jeremy
K.
and
Yeah.
K. There you
But yeah,
go.
you can do that or follow us on Facebook. We've got you'll find us. It's like just Google. And then, yeah, we would, if anyone needs help, it's like, well, ultimately what we encourage people to do is like watch some training, get connected, get an idea of what we're talking about here. But if you just watch this, even you're like, I just know that like something resonated at my heart level. I need to reach out. Again, you can go to jeremykrulikowski.com/apply. You can book a free call to speak with us. And I will just,
Okay.
if we can help you, we will. Like, we're going to get clear on like, what is it that's not working right now? What is it that's really holding you back from where you want to be financially? And what's the best plan for you? And Nina, honestly, it's not a fit for everybody. And I think
Right.
that's where some people get on a call expecting some like heavy-handed sales pitch. It's like, I don't need your money and I don't want to do that. It doesn't feel good for you. It doesn't feel good for me.
Right.
I don't want to know, are we a fit? Can we get you where you want? Because it's not. And not everyone has what it takes. Some people are not sick of it and some people don't want it bad enough. And you got to want it. You got to want.
Yeah.
You
You
got to
gotta
want to
want
get
it.
free. You
You
got
gotta
to
want
want
it.
it. It's like, I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. Your
Yeah.
life doesn't have to
So
be
true.
falling apart, but you just have to get to a place where like, I'm just tired of not seeing my kids. I'm tired of my
Yeah.
relationships
Yeah.
fizzling out and not seeing my wife and my spouse or my husband. I'm tired of just feeling behind and like it's not enough and just always having to be worried over stupid stuff. I just want a vacation. I'm ready. I need some help. And that's the people that we can help. We'll make sure that we
Right.
take care of you. And
Hey, listen, when you're sick and tired of being sick, you'll get well,
yep,
you know?
absolutely. Yep.
Right? So, Jeremy, thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
And
Nina. This
guys,
is so
thank
much
you
fun.
guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. But most of all, I'm going to make sure I link all of Jeremy's information below. So make sure you click on there because this guy got a lot to give. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time.
Thanks, Nina.